If I had my life to live over again, I would have made a rule to read some poetry and listen to some music at least once every week. A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. The love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It is those who know little, not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science. If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature, but by our institutions, great is our sin. I am not apt to follow blindly the lead of other men. The mystery of the beginning of all things is insoluble by us. And I for one must be content to remain an agnostic. The highest possible stage in moral culture is when we recognize that we ought to control our thoughts. An American monkey, after getting drunk on brandy, would never touch it again, and thus is much wiser than most men. We stopped looking for monsters under our bed when we realized that they were inside us. Intelligence is based on how efficient a species became at doing the things they need to survive. Blushing is the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. We must, however, acknowledge, as it seems to me, that man with all his noble qualities still bears in his bodily frame the indelible stamp of his lowly origin. One general law, leading to the advancement of all organic beings, namely, multiply, vary, let the strongest live and the weakest die. Besides love and sympathy, animals exhibit other qualities connected with the social instincts which in us would be called moral. In the long history of humankind, and animal kind, too, those who learned to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. Nothing is easier than to admit in words the truth of the universal struggle for life, or more difficult, at least I have found it so, than constantly to bear this conclusion in mind. Great is the power of steady misrepresentation. Man selects only for his own good, nature only for that of the being which she tends. For the shield may be as important for victory as the sword or spear. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. It is always advisable to perceive clearly our ignorance. To kill an error is as good a service as, and sometimes even better than, the establishing of a new truth or fact. There is no fundamental difference between man and animals in their ability to feel pleasure and pain, happiness and misery. Natural selection almost inevitably causes much extinction of the less improved forms of life and induces what I have called divergence of character. The very essence of instinct is that it's followed independently of reason. A scientific man ought to have no wishes, no affections, a mere heart of stone. The complete absence of sex always leads to an increase in creative activity. A fair result can be obtained only by fully stating and balancing the facts and arguments on both sides of each question. I have always maintained that, excepting fools, men did not differ much in intellect, only in zeal and hard work. And I still think there is an eminently important difference. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. Our descent, then, is the origin of our evil passions. The devil under form of baboon is our grandfather. The power to charm the female has sometimes been more important than the power to conquer other males in battle.